Wrestling Pro News fam, the WWE Universe is still in shock from what is now being called one of the most groundbreaking and defining corporate decisions in the entire history of professional wrestling, a decision so monumental and irreversible that it is destined to stand as the gold standard against which all future disciplinary actions in WWE will be judged, because in one bold, uncompromising move, Triple H, the Chief Content Officer, the King of Kings, the architect of the modern creative era of WWE, did the unthinkable, something many fans, critics, and even insiders never believed he would have the courage to do. He terminated Seth Rollins, not just any superstar on the roster, not a mid-card performer or developmental hopeful still finding their footing, but the reigning World Heavyweight Champion, the man whose face-filled merchandise stands, whose theme music made arenas explode in unison, whose legacy had long been synonymous with the main event spotlight, and in doing so Triple H shattered the old rule that top stars were untouchable, proving beyond any shadow of a doubt that in his WWE no one, not even the world champion, is above accountability. To understand how we reached this seismic moment, you have to trace the roots of the volatile and complicated relationship between these two men, a saga that began with mentorship and optimism and ended with betrayal, deception, and the final severing of ties, because when Seth Rollins first arrived in WWE, his potential was immediately visible, a hybrid performer with the athleticism to soar, the technical skill to control a match, and the charisma to captivate a crowd, yet alongside that brilliance came arrogance, a defiant streak that rubbed authority figures the wrong way, and a belief that greatness would come only on his own terms. Triple H, then already a towering presence both in the ring and behind the curtain, saw in Rollins both immense opportunity and immense risk, admitting later that he came dangerously close to firing the young talent in those early years, telling him bluntly that he saw nothing extraordinary beyond the attitude, but ultimately choosing to invest in him, to mold him, and to elevate him into the kind of star that could define an era. That gamble initially paid off when Rollins became the crown jewel of the Authority, handpicked by Triple H and Stephanie McMahon to stand at their side, winning championships, headlining pay-per-views, and enjoying unprecedented creative protection. But with that dominance came entitlement, the creeping sense that the rules no longer applied to him, that he was not part of the system but rather essential to it, and when the Authority storyline dissolved, Rollins had to face a new reality without the same safety net, and that adjustment was rocky at best. Backstage disputes grew more heated, reports of friction multiplied, and as Triple H fully transitioned into his executive role, he saw less of the hungry protege he had once mentored and more of a self-styled superstar who blurred the lines between performance and reality in ways that tested the patience of management and locker room alike. Their public relationship hit a notorious low in 2016 when Triple H turned on Rollins on television, costing him the Universal Championship in one of the most shocking betrayals in WWE history. A moment that mirrored the real-life breakdown of trust behind the curtain, and though both men continued working together, the wounds never fully healed. Rollins adopted the flamboyant visionary persona that thrilled some fans and infuriated others, while management increasingly described him as difficult, a top talent who undermined booking decisions, pushed back against creative direction, and made life harder for younger stars trying to break through. Still, Triple H continued to protect him, keeping him at the top of the card, until SummerSlam 2025, the night that broke everything. On paper Rollins was injured, unable to compete, and the company bent over backwards to adjust, rewriting shows, altering tours, and granting him special accommodations, while Triple H himself expressed genuine concern, defending him in meetings, urging patience, and prioritizing his health over short-term profits. But all of this goodwill exploded into betrayal when Rollins, perfectly healthy, shocked the world by cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase, reclaiming the title in a moment designed to ignite social media, and it was only afterward that the full truth came out. Rollins had been training in secret, fully fit for months, while deliberately lying to medical staff, executives, and leadership, exploiting corporate resources, manipulating insurance protocols, and deceiving the very people who had shielded him for years. For Triple H, this was the last straw, not storyline innovation but corporate sabotage disguised as opportunism, and when he confronted Rollins in a legendary backstage altercation, years of resentment erupted into an explosive clash that destroyed any chance of reconciliation. Rollins reportedly showed no remorse, defending his actions as good business, and accusing management of stifling him, while Triple H, faced with the choice of enabling toxic behavior or asserting his authority, chose decisively to protect the integrity of WWE. The termination was swift, absolute, and meticulously documented, citing repeated policy violations, insubordination, and a breach of trust so profound that no suspension or demotion could cover it. The fallout was immediate and polarizing, with younger talent seeing it as proof that favoritism was over, veterans acknowledging that Rollins had gone too far, and fans splitting between those who praised the decision as a stand for integrity and those who mourned the loss of one of the company's most dynamic stars. Creatively, the company now faced the chaos of a vacant world title mid-run, scrambling to rework storylines, absorb merchandise and ticket sale losses, and recalibrate its main event scene, but Triple H's stance was unwavering, insisting that the long-term health of WWE's culture outweighed the short-term business hit. Legally, the move was airtight, backed by medical documentation, internal correspondence, and years of warnings that insulated WWE from claims, but personally it was devastating, because this was not just an executive firing an employee. This was a mentor cutting off his former protege, a man he had once elevated to superstardom, and in doing so Triple H sacrificed a decade-long relationship to reinforce a message that no one is untouchable. In WWE's long history, this will stand alongside the most decisive cultural shifts, a declaration that talent alone is not enough, that professionalism and respect for the business are non-negotiable, and that even the brightest stars can fall if they undermine the trust that holds the company together. And as the dust settles, the message resonates louder than ever across locker rooms, fan forums, and boardrooms alike. Under Triple H's leadership, the rules apply to everyone, and if Seth Rollins, the reigning champion, the merchandise powerhouse, the face of main events, can be fired, then truly no one is beyond consequence.